At the start of the movie, a teenager named Jules enters her parents' room covertly to inform her mother that there is someone on the roof. Jules claims she heard something, but her mother, who believes she might be dreaming, advises her to go back to sleep. While her mother tries to comfort her that it might be an animal, Jules is frustrated and insists she wasn't dreaming. Her mother chuckles when Jules suggests it might be Santa Claus, speculating that it might be one of Santa's aides determining whether the roof is suitable for reindeer. When the mother comes downstairs, she sees that Jules has left milk and cookies for Santa. She finds the front door open and chastises her husband for not closing it before they return to their beds. Jules, meantime, slips downstairs to check on Santa. Jules hides to observe as she wakes her brother Yim, who ignores her. She sees Santa suddenly take out an axe and go upstairs. Yim is startled to discover that it is not Jules when he wakes up, believing it to be her. As the man who is actually Art goes to her parents' room, Jules watches in horror. When the mother wakes up to the sound of Art's attack on her husband, the mother tries to flee but becomes alarmed upon discovering Jules' room deserted. After rushing to Yim's room, she learns the terrible truth. She tries to flee by running downstairs when she realizes it's too late, but Art captures her and murders her. He then settles in to eat the milk and cookies Jules left for Santa. Art discovers Jules hiding when he hears a commotion at the kitchen door. Art smiles menacingly at Jules, hinting at the frightful meeting that is about to take place. A police officer looking into the incident finds Art's severed body on the ground 5 years prior. When the police officer looks around, he sees that the body is no longer there. Art tackles him abruptly while he is still headless. Bullets fired by the officer are ineffective. After that, Art walks down the street wearing the police officer's head as a hideous accessory. Art is sitting across from her on the subway wearing the cop's head, but the woman is preoccupied and doesn't notice him. A security officer at a nearby hospital hears screaming and looks into them. Upon approaching the commotion and requesting assistance, he is appalled to witness Art and Victoria consuming a corpse. The guard is stunned as he sees Art wave at him before he and Victoria murder him. Later, a man disguised as Art arrives and honks a horn on the metro. He remarks that their realistic outfits are superior than his own. He says he wants to make it scary by painting it crimson. Later, he asks if they may take a group photo. When they return to their hiding place, it is discovered that Victoria has been coated in crimson and is now wearing the subway guy's horn, which suggests that they committed a crime. He goes to his room and rocks back and forth in a chair as Art plays with rats. In the meantime, Victoria begins to repeat, save me, and free girl," while gazing into the bathroom mirror. Victoria abruptly cuts her arms, snatches a piece of glass, and smacks her skull on the mirror. After then, they both go into a 5-year hibernation. After being discharged from the hospital, Sienna now resides with her and Jess, who is married to Greg and has a daughter named Gabby. When Gabby gets home, she embraces Sienna tightly and exclaims how much she has changed. When Gabby implores her to never leave again, Sienna assures her that she won't. The glitter on Gabby's face makes them both chuckle. Aunt Jess and Sienna reunite and give each other a heartfelt embrace. Knowing that Sienna is a fan of wizards and dragons, Gabby designed her new room to resemble a fairy tale, and Sienna follows him upstairs to examine it. "It's the coolest room I've ever seen," Sienna says. In the hopes that Christmas will be full of joy and laughter, Gabby offers Sienna a letter in which she expresses her love and excitement. Art's home is inspected by 2 supervisors in the interim before being sold to the state. The swarming rats terrify one, while the other tells him it's nothing to be alarmed about. According to his companion, the area seems to be filled with resentful spirits just wanting to be let loose. Intrigued, the second supervisor queries whether he actually believes these kinds of tales. According to a co-worker, a lunatic abducted and murdered 12 children in the 1990s, burying their bodies in this building's basement. People have said that it is haunted ever since. As they proceed to examine Art's home, the supervisors observe that it is dark and lacks running water and light. Art is found immobile and covered in cobwebs when someone notices a flicker of light. Victoria is discovered in the bathtub, drenched in black liquid, by the second supervisor. She abruptly moves as he tries to capture a picture. He is shocked and in disbelief at what he sees, but Art suddenly comes alive and assaults him. Victoria then ambushes the second supervisor in a vicious attack, and Art defeats the other supervisor while Victoria looks on in satisfaction. In another scene, Sienna is dining with her cousin Gabby, aunt, and uncle. As they talk about the past, Gabby's father makes a joke about how Christmas has changed since Gabby stopped believing in Santa Claus. Rose, a buddy who passed away, taunts Sienna in a sudden vision, asserting that she won't be able to forget what she did even if she takes bismuth. Alleging that Sienna and her brother led Art to them, Rose sourly reminds Sienna that she is dead to her. Like she did with her mother, she holds Sienna accountable for her demise. Though frightened by Rose's arrival, Sienna answers yes when her aunt asks whether she's feeling all right. She excuses herself and goes to her room since she is overwhelmed. Jonathan finds his buddies Nicole and his girlfriend hanging out in his college dorm as he walks in. Since few people survive a meeting with Art, Mia informs Jonathan that she is a huge fan of his. She asks him to be a guest on her podcast because she is obsessed with true crime and believes that many people would be interested in hearing his story. Uncertain if he's prepared to go through such a horrible event again, Jonathan pauses. Jonathan's sister, Sienna, calls him at that very moment. He responds that he's well, but not in class when she asks how he's doing. When Sienna tells him how much she misses him, Jonathan acknowledges that he does too, and he asks how things are doing. Sienna admits that she is only looking forward to seeing him in a few days and spending Christmas together. They hang up after saying their goodbyes. Then, Gabby inquires about Sienna's well-being. While reassuring her, Sienna notes that she occasionally feels queasy from her medication. Art, meantime, is occupied with creating new weaponry out of nitrogen and a fire extinguisher. Sienna and Gabby take some time to apply their makeup while this is going on. The inquisitive child inquires about the huge scar on Sienna's palm after Sienna compliments Gabby on her attractiveness. According to Sienna, she was gravely hurt in a fight when she acquired it. In another scene, Santa Claus and his pals are posing for photos with girls at a bar. After they depart, Art is thrilled to see Santa through the window and knows he has discovered the ideal person for his scheme. He attracts attention by bringing a black bag inside the pub. He's funny to everyone, especially when he acts like he's excited to see Santa. Everyone laughs when Art pulls out a trumpet when the bartender notices him and asks what's in the bag. Sienna converses with her aunt in the interim, who tactfully tells her not to act as though nothing is wrong. She acknowledges that she is unable to really comprehend Sienna's difficulties, but she assures them that things will improve. Speaking candidly, Sienna says her aunt is like her mother before her father died, and she is the loveliest person she can talk to about anything. Although she occasionally spoke like a truck driver, which made them both chuckle, her aunt nods. Her aunt responds that she also misses her mother when Sienna acknowledges that she does. Santa, who is back at the pub, tells Art not to tamper with his belongings and threatens to put him on the naughty list if he doesn't behave. The bartender declines Santa's request for another round, claiming Art is not of legal drinking age. In spite of this, the trio keeps drinking. Art lashes out against Santa in a fit of rage by spitting in his face. Santa tries to attack Art after Art urinates on him, which heightens the tension. But Art takes a revolver out of his backpack and murders Santa's two companions. Santa pleads for help in desperation. Then, with the actual Santa strapped to a chair, Art puts on the Santa outfit. Then, prepared to complete the task, he applies nitrogen from the fire extinguisher to himself and grabs a hammer. Greg asks Jess about Sienna during the conversation between Sienna's uncles. Greg thinks it's nice to see her smiling again, and Jess adds she's handling things as well as can be expected. Sienna plans to purchase a gift for Jonathan when they go shopping at the mall for Christmas, Jess adds. Greg worries that the outing could be dangerous and lead to Sienna regressing. Jess adamantly declares that she will help her niece, stressing that Sienna is taking her medicine as prescribed and that she is healing. Sienna is in her room, writing in her journal. Children wait in line to snap pictures with Santa at the mall, but he chooses to take a break. Sienna experiences an odd feeling as memories of the past come flooding back when she and Gabby are choosing a present for Jonathan. She dismisses it as a strange illusion when Art, dressed as Santa, passes by and waves. In the meantime, Jonathan listens to Mia's podcast on Art, gets a call from Sienna, and they decide to meet. As they speak, Sienna reassures him that everything appears to be all right. Jonathan then inquires as to why she wishes to see him at this time. Sienna acknowledges that she missed him and proposes that he visit their uncle's house this evening rather than waiting until Christmas Eve. However, because he has been asked to a party on campus, Jonathan is unable to. Just then, Jonathan's friend Cole arrives and greets Sienna, saying he's heard great things about her previously. Suddenly, Mia shows up, startled to see Sienna. Seeing Mia again makes Sienna grin. In contrast, Jonathan explains that Mia has been paying close attention to the entire story. In spite of everything, Mia says she wants to interview Sienna about how she's been managing. Sienna, however, reacts angrily, saying that she is plagued every day by visions of her deceased loved ones, who appear to be yelling and waving at her. Sienna discloses that she has numerous scars and is always reminded of how that maniac destroyed their lives. Mia claims she won't tell anyone out of annoyance. She declares that they are all the same and questions why individuals are unable to show humanity to at least one individual. As she releases her bottled-up pain and rage, her voice rises. Concerned, Jonathan wants to know what's going on and why Sienna attacked her friends. Sienna acknowledges that she believed she had seen artwork at the shopping center. Jonathan, who is doubtful, challenges her assertion that he was wearing Santa Claus attire, but Sienna is adamant about his existence. Given that she severed his head, Jonathan tells her that it isn't feasible, making both of them understand that Art might have outside assistance if he has returned. Sienna is alarmed and argues that Victoria must be destroyed, saying she is demonic rather than human. She explains that she has been studying possession and demonology and that she still retains Art's letters, stating that Art was fascinated by these topics. In some strange way, she thinks he was correct. Demons sometimes try to enter the human world but can't do it alone, she says, quoting a passage from one letter. They have to decide on a vessel, ideally someone who is genuinely evil, such as a serial killer and who passed away recently. Sienna continues reading the letter, saying that in order to keep a demon from growing too strong, they assign them a counterpart when they enter the physical realm. Given the ramifications, Jonathan worries about Sienna's safety. She reveals that Art is now using Victoria Hayes as his host, which is why she vanished that evening, and that their father made the sword to help her and get her ready for this moment. Sienna informs Jonathan that in order to get their father's sword back, she must go back and scare her. As this is going on, Art, disguised as Santa, calls over a young girl at the mall, gives her a doll, and gets the other children who are scurrying for toys excited. However, a mall worker discovers that the Santa they hired is actually a fraud. A security officer is about to lead Art out when a youngster opens a gift package and a bomb inside explodes, creating a catastrophic explosion. In an attempt to feel better, Jonathan chooses to take his prescription, but he quickly loses control and throws everything on the ground in a fit of rage. When Sienna puts a gift under the tree at her uncle's house, Gabby notices and inquires as to whether it is for her. It's none of Gabby's business, Sienna responds with a tinge of attitude. When Gabby sees that Sienna's hands are black, she asks why. Before going to the sink to wash her hands, Sienna tells nonchalantly that she slipped and fell, still holding a bag and wearing a Santa costume. When Sienna's aunt inquires about Jonathan's whereabouts, she responds that he is attending a party on campus. Her aunt is surprised and says that after everything that happened, he rarely attends parties. Gabby says Sienna doesn't like the cereal that her aunt provides her. In their chamber, Sienna discloses that she never discussed her distaste with anyone outside of her diary, implying that Gabby read it without her consent. Admitting that she read everything, Gabby apologizes, leading to Sienna accusing her of breaching a commitment. In defense of herself, Gabby claims that she was interested in Sienna's circumstances. As it arrives at the institution where Jonathan studies, Mia speaks to Cole to get Jonathan to find out more about Art, including his appearance and scent. Sienna finds out about the mall explosion that claimed 5 lives and left 6 more missing, allegedly triggered by a clown dressed as Santa while having dinner with Gabby and her uncle. She is devastated by this news and implores her uncles to phone Jonathan and alert him to Art's danger. Horror hits its peak when Art urinates and then viciously attacks Cole and Mia, who were getting it on in the shower, while Greg goes in search of Jonathan. Because they are lascivious, the madman makes them rigid with a chainsaw. The first was Mia, who at last had the opportunity to view the horrible one's eyes as she had hoped, and then she went with Cole, who was cruelly split, to create a dreadful scenario in which Art creates tiny crimson angels on the ground. Sienna dreams as she goes to sleep about her father and the angels making the sword and her warrior angel costume. Upon awakening, she finds that Art and the agitated Vicky have broken into her home, and Art uses a mace to render her unconscious. Upon regaining consciousness, Sienna finds Jess hanging in front of her in a hideous way and her uncle nailed to the wall like a poster from a gore manga. Victoria keeps up her evil part in the events, and Art kills Sienna's aunt by forcing her to swallow live mice. Victoria exposes Jonathan's murder by making fun of Sienna and donning a crown of thorns. Despite Victoria's attempts to take her, Sienna fights back and opens a gift, revealing her father's sword inside. Like a statue of the ego, Sienna splits and breaks Victoria in this way. Art uses his chainsaw to assault Sienna, but she prevails. Gabby falls and grabs the edge as Victoria's blood burns the ground and forms a portal to hell. To save her, Sienna abandons Art, but she is unable to do so, and she and the sword plunge into the abyss. After Art escapes through a window, Sienna swears to find Gabby and save her, as well as to put a stop to Art permanently. The film ends with a woman reading a book on the ninth circle of hell at a bus stop. She starts a discussion with an indifferent driver, but both are taken aback by Art, who, despite his weakness, smiles menacingly and uses his unbreakable horn. Makes it apparent that his victims would not have a tranquil Christmas Eve. To ensure you never miss any updates on new videos, kindly click the bell icon, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.